What's up, guys? I hope you're doing well. It's Elsie again. And today we're going to be talking about conversations and if they're influential. I once heard someone say, any person you allow to take time of your day is somebody you allow to influence you, whether you're aware of it or not. Those around you, those are closest to you, are the ones who impact you the most, and we learn a lot from them. A lot of the influence comes from our conversations with them. For example, if you're close to someone who's very empathetic, who has a lot of empathy, you will learn a lot about empathy, especially if you lack it. Or if you have a friend who you're close to and they love technology and science, you will learn a lot about technology or science, even if you learned it through small conversations or just from listening to them talk so much about what they love. In similar ways, the things we allow ourselves to listen to be part of, is something that we are allowing to influence us. Sometimes we don't realize it, but conversations are a huge form of listening. Have you ever found yourself saying, according to, well, so-and-so said, or after explaining something, we say, well, that's what so-and-so says. Well, at least something that's important to us or goes with something that we believe. We like to attach someone's name to it because that person's name probably carries weight. And so what we're saying now carries a bigger weight. Well, that right there has already influenced you because you have made it part of you and you are now repeating what you've heard. Remember how in the previous episode we learned that our heart treasures things? Well, our heart treasures things that we hear. They in a form reprogram our heart with new information. And the interesting thing is that part of Luke 6:45 says, what you say flows from what is in your hearts. Our conversations matter. The conversations we're listening to or being part of matter. They're storing new treasures in our hearts. And that is very dangerous territory. It can also be very godly territory depending on the conversations you're involving yourselves in and listening to. Let me read to you what Jesus says in Matthew 15. I have it right here. Matthew 15, verse 18 and so forth. It says, but the words you speak, and Jesus says these words, by the way, but the words you speak come from the heart. That's what defiles you, corrupts you. For from the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, all sexual immorality, theft, lying, and slander. These are what defile you. Eating with unwashed hands will never defile you. And I like what the easy version says in verse 19. It says, bad thoughts come from people's minds. As a result, they do wrong things. They might decide to kill somebody. They might have sex with another man's wife, or in other wrong ways. They might rob somebody. They might tell lies about other people, or they might say bad things against them. We are worrying so much about exterior things. We forget to guard our hearts. The things we talk about are a reflection of what's inside of us. I've been driving down the highway, listening to podcasts, listening to conversations, being part of conversations through FaceTime, through calls. Sometimes these podcasts, I learned about sex, things that I probably should have never known, getting drunk, some crazy stories about one-night stands, and I've laughed along with those stories. I know this information is not new to you. You know, this stuff is things we hear constantly. But the crazy thing is not in, I wish it was just in listening into it, but many times we initiate. We are the ones to start those conversations. I've been the one to initiate conversations that are complete and utter trash. And the thing is that before I wouldn't even feel bad about it. And I've also recommended podcast episodes of like stories about one night stands or like falling off with something that I think are funny, but they do not benefit in the long run. Yeah, I can laugh for a moment, but now I have new information about how to get high or new expressions or bad words, and is not beneficial in the long run. Our thoughts are a result of what is in our hearts. Our actions are a result of our thoughts. Our thoughts cause us to sin. We're naturally drawn to do things of the flesh, to please ourselves. The battle is in denying ourselves. One way to start is by analyzing the conversations you're being part of. Also, remember to not blame others for corrupting you or your conversations when many other times you're the one to start them. I've been the one to start them many times. The conversations we're initiating, listening to, or being part of in a way are a form of listening. What we allow to take time from our day is something we're allowing to influence us. 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, "Bad company corrupts a good character." Sometimes we worry so much about our outer things, but we need to be worrying about the things that are not seen, interior things. Our hearts is what matters the most, rather than what is on the outside. Look, people are going to talk about you through their pores. Don't let that stop you from allowing God to change you. You'll hear, "You used to be part of this conversation." You're the one who even used to start them. Oh, and you don't want to talk about it now? Or what do you mean? You're the one who used to occupy 40 seconds of a minute with bad words. Jesus said, "What do you benefit if you gain the whole world but lose your own soul? Is anything worth more than your soul?" He said. I don't think your conversations is worth costing you your soul. Don't allow the comments of other people, or because you have been part of these conversations before, to stop you from changing. You don't need to please other people. You need to please God. Our conversations matter. Remember, our hearts tends to treasure what we listen to. What comes out of our mouth is a reflection of the treasures that are in our hearts. Our thoughts eventually become words or actions. There's nothing in this world worth your soul. Analyze the conversations you're listening to and being part of. They're influencing you and your thoughts. Therefore, they have made an impact in your hearts. So they're important. They're influential. So, analyze. And that's all. Until next time.